Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something that's a huge pain for basically every business, getting simple answers from our data. We're going to look at a new tool called the Snowflake Agent, which promises to turn all that complexity into just a conversation.
All right, let's just dive right in. We are all drowning in data, right? Companies have these massive mountains of it, but trying to get a straight answer can feel, well, impossible. And that creates this huge bottleneck. Simple questions get stuck in a queue, just waiting for some data expert to come along and translate them into code.
But what if you could just skip that whole middleman thing? What if you could just ask your data a question? In plain English. That's really the core idea here. That's the promise of the Snowflake Agent. It's like having a personal data assistant that actually gets what you're asking.
Okay, so it's really important to get this. This is not just another generic chatbot you see everywhere. No way. The Snowflake Agent is an AI that's built to live and breathe inside your company's secure data. It's been specifically designed to understand your questions and then go find the answers using your company's own unique information.
And this is where we see a really critical difference. Not all agents are created equal. A basic agent, one that just uses a generic AI model, it's kind of like hiring someone who speaks the language perfectly but has never ever read a single one of your company's reports. A smart agent, though, now that's different. It's given tools. Think of these as direct connections to your data, giving it the context it needs to actually understand your business.
So what's in this toolkit? Well, for all your structured data, the neat rows and columns and tables, it uses something called a semantic model. You can just think of that as a business-friendly map of your data. It explains how things like customers and orders are all connected. Then, for all your unstructured stuff like PDFs, documents, you name it, it uses the Cortex search service to intelligently dig through and find what's relevant. So it's this two-pronged attack to understand your entire data landscape.
Okay, so the theory is great and all, but what does this actually look like in practice, right? Once your agent has these tools, you can start a real conversation. And honestly, this is where the magic happens.
So you can start with something super direct, a numbers question. A question like this would normally mean someone has to go write a specific SQL query. But here, you just ask. It's literally as simple as sending a Slack message to a colleague.
And it goes way beyond just simple facts. You can ask for much more complex stuff like, hey, what are the trends here? It can look at all your historical data and piece together that bigger picture for you. And the best part, you don't have to tell it every single little step to take.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Getting an answer in text is cool, but a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? A visual is almost always better. The agent totally gets that, so it can generate charts for you on the fly. You can instantly see the story the numbers are telling.
And you're not stuck with just one kind of chart either. You can ask for whatever visualization makes the most sense. Want to compare categories? Give me a bar chart. Need to see a trend? Show me a line chart. The perfect visual is now just a sentence away.
All right, so we've seen the core conversational stuff, but the agent also has a couple of, let's call them special abilities. These are for when you need to dig a little deeper or you're tackling a really tough question.
This is all about giving you control over how the agent thinks. So think of the default mode as a quick sprint. It's perfect for those fast, everyday answers. But for those really complex, I need you to leave no stone unturned kinds of questions, you can switch on research mode. And that tells the agent, okay, time to run a marathon. It's going to be way more thorough and explore every single possibility, even if it takes a little more time.
Now, here's a situation I'm sure you've been in. What happens when you've got a brand new report, maybe a spreadsheet someone just sent you, that isn't in the main database yet? What do? Well, this is where another really cool feature comes into play.
It's called Zero Setup File Upload, and it's as simple as it sounds. You literally just drag and drop a file right into the chat, and bam, the agent instantly knows what's inside. And the key thing here is that this knowledge is temporary. It only lasts for your current session. So what that means is you can get insights from new documents right away, without any of that complicated setup or having to permanently load the data.
And get this, you're not limited to just one file. You can upload up to 5 of them at once. Just think about that for a second. You could instantly cross-reference a new sales spreadsheet, a marketing report, and the PDF from last quarter's board meeting. All of it on the fly with zero complex data engineering. That's a game changer.
And yeah, as you can see, it supports all the file types that businesses actually use. PDFs, spreadsheets, presentations, the usual suspects. That flexibility just means that whatever format your new info is in, you can probably feed it to the agent to get more context.
Okay, but of course, with a tool this powerful, especially in a business setting, you absolutely have to have control, security, and visibility. That's non-negotiable. And the Snowflake agent was built with that in mind right from the very beginning. So for the admins, there are some really solid observability features baked in. They can see logs of what questions people are asking, what answers the agent is spitting out, and they can even track user feedback on how good those answers are. This whole loop helps make the agent better over time and ensures it's being used the right way. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, what does this all mean? The big takeaway is this. We're seeing a fundamental shift here. Tools like the Snowflake agent are changing data access from something that requires a highly technical skill into, well, a simple conversation. And that opens up the world of data insights to so many more people in a company.
You know, this kind of tech isn't just about getting answers faster. It's about empowering people to ask better, smarter questions. Which leaves us with one final thought. If you could have a totally open, barrier-free conversation with your organization's data right now, what's the first question you'd ask?